Hi everybody, how was the first part of this tutorial? Now, having covered how to describe where one lives and also having covered some professions in German language, I will now continue to describe how we can say where we work. The W-Frage or the W question, if you remember from the past tutorial, that German questions are usually W-Fragen. So to tell about where, that is location, we use wo in German. And it is used to describe any location, including a workplace. So generally, we will use three prepositions in German when describing where we work. Those three prepositions are in, by, and an. In preposition is similar to the English preposition in. But by and an are similar to the English preposition at. So, you know that in the previous tutorial part, I used the preposition in when describing where you live. But we also saw different forms of in, as in we saw im Ausland to mean living in some country abroad, and you saw in der Massoudstraße, which meant living in a particular street. Name is Massoud Street. So, just briefly reviewing these forms, im is actually made by combining the preposition in with a definite article in German, dem, which I will cover with you in my later tutorials. In der is not a shortened form. In fact, in der is just written like this, and it is not shortened to any other word as in this case. Here, in both these cases, in is the main preposition and dem and der are definite articles in German. So, to better understand, we will have to look at a different grammar later on in my tutorials. Note that these three prepositions in, by, and an can have other meanings too, but that always depends on the context in which you're using these three prepositions. But for now, you will only need to remember the meanings when talking about workplaces. So in German, we use in with the definite article dem shortened to im for certain institutions like a clinic, which is Klinik in German, and Krankenhaus, which is a hospital. Then we also use the preposition in German for buildings that are within a certain defined space. So usually buildings with walls, enclosed buildings, we can say, and they are within a certain space, like restaurant, which is a restaurant. And by the way, the German restaurant takes the pronunciation from the French word with the same meaning. Café, which is a cafe. Bureau, which is an office. Supermarkt, which is a supermarket. So with these, we use before that im. Im Restaurant, im Café, im Büro, im Supermarkt. But for the word Fabrik, which is a factory, we will use in der Fabrik. Moving on, we use bei when we are telling somebody that we work in some company, and we are not mentioning the name of that company. We're just saying we work in a company or we work at a company. Then in German, we will use bei, not in, and we will say bei der Firma, where Firma is a company. Then we use bei also when we refer to specific company names, like Volkswagen, which is an automobile company, or Siemens, telecommunications company. So by certain company names, we will use the preposition bei before these names. Then we use the preposition bei also when we are talking about specific institution names, or even some known institutions in any country or in any city. So the first specific institution name could be like Commerzbank, and this is a institution name in Germany, which is the name of a bank. Then a known institution in any city or country could be the post office, which is Post in German. So we will use bei with these, but we will say bei Commerzbank and bei der Post. We will use an when we are talking about some known institutions like a school or a university. So an der Schule, which is a school, an der Universität, which is a university. And we will use the preposition an also for specific types of schools, like Grundschule, which is the primary school, and Gymnasium, which is the secondary school in Germany, or any school that prepares students for university entrance. For Schule, Grundschule, we will use an der. For university, we will also use an der Universität. But for Gymnasium, we will use am Gymnasium. Now, although I will cover the grammatical context behind im, in der, am, and an der later on in my tutorials, but for the time being, you need to know that the im and am will come before German words that are by gender masculine and neutral, and India will come before German words that are by gender feminine, and the gender aspect of German words will be coming soon in my later tutorials too. Going further, now let's have a look at a basic job conversation in German language. So we have here possible questions and possible answers to when there is a job conversation going on. So we can ask with the W-Frage wo and the verb arbeiten, wo arbeitest du or wo arbeiten Sie? To which we can answer as ich arbeite als Kellnerin in Deutschland, where als means as. So I work as a waitress in Germany. So before a country and before a city, you will use in its original form. Denn ich arbeite als Kellnerin im Restaurant. So I work as a waitress in a restaurant. Here, the restaurant is actually a neutral noun, and therefore we have in the form of im. Ich arbeite als Sekretärin bei Volkswagen. And here the specific company name has been mentioned, so we don't put anything other than by preposition. Or you can answer Ich arbeite zu Hause. I work at home. So whenever you see zu, which is another preposition after in, by, and an, and you see zu with the word house, the word house changes to Hause when it comes with the preposition zu. And zu Hause always implies at home. Then we can ask, when talking about a job, was sind Sie von Beruf? What are you by profession? So von here is yet another new preposition for you guys, and this is in the context of a job conversation, although phone as a preposition has other meanings also. But in the context of a job conversation, it will mean by profession here. So by profession, I am a waitress. Von Beruf bin ich Kellnerin. Note also the positioning of the verb, which now comes directly after the noun, and then comes the subject. Bin ich Kellnerin? Or ich bin Kellnerin von Beruf. Both these sentences mean the same, only the positioning of von and Beruf is different and that of the verb sein. Ich bin Kellnerin is a simple way of saying without adding von Beruf. You can also ask about a job by asking, was machen Sie beruflich? Where machen is a new verb for you which means to do. So what do you do professionally? Beruflich. To which you can answer, ich bin Kellnerin, I am a waitress. Ich arbeite als Kellnerin, I work as a waitress. Ich mache ein Praktikum bei Nivea. I am doing an internship at Nivea. Ich mache eine Ausbildung bei Nivea. I'm doing a training. And any job training in this context is a Ausbildung by Nivea. And please note that machen, which means to do, is another regular verb like auskommen, heißen, wohnen, leben, and arbeiten. Then you can also ask about the profession by asking, was ist dein or was ist ihr Beruf? So what is your profession? Depending on whether you are conversing informally or formally. Ich arbeite als Kellnerin. Ich bin Kellnerin or ich bin Kellnerin von Beruf. So machen as a regular verb will come in later tutorials and I will show you its conjugation. And you will note how regular verbs are conjugated more or less in the same manner. That was all for today. Do stay updated for part 3 of this tutorial. Thank you.